So, people ask me what it's like to review cars. Well, mostly I spend a lot of time watching them. But let's get to the question of the day. Is this Lexus GS 350 a sports sedan, or is it a luxury sedan? We'll get to that question as soon as I wash it. With a brilliant 3.5-liter, 303 horsepower V6, this car certainly has the heart of a sports car. And when you step on the gas, believe me, it transforms into an instant rocket. You know, I can't help but recall back in 1991 when I owned a 300ZX twin-turbo with a 300 horsepower engine. Back then, 300 horsepower seemed like a supercar. Today, it just seems adequate. So, let's see how long it takes the GS to get to 60 from a standing start. I'm going to use my iPhone's accelerometer to measure this car's acceleration. First, I'm going to put the car in power mode. Then, I'm going to put my hands on the steering wheel. And then I'm going to floor it. And let's see what happens and let's see how fast it goes. Here we go. Okay, that was 60 miles an hour. And according to the accelerometer, that took us 6.23 seconds. That's not bad. That's sports car quick. I believe that acceleration like this makes a Lexus a sports sedan in anybody's book. But hold on. What about the supple leather steering wheel, the heated front seats, the flawless wood, the jewel-like secondary controls, and of course, the silence? If silence had a sound, it would be the interior of the Lexus. You could hear an ant fart in this car at 60 miles an hour. Perhaps I was wrong. The Lexus GS is a luxury sedan after all. But if the GS is a luxury sedan, why do I barely fit in the car? Isn't luxury about having room to stretch out and relax? At least that's how they define it on airplanes and trains. In the Lexus, my head hits the roof. In the back seat, my legs barely fit, just like on a typical flight to hell and back. Some may call this cozy, I call it tight. But if it was a sports sedan, it would have cat-like reflexes. And yes, I'm referring to the Jaguar XF. Quite frankly, this Lexus is not all that impressive when the road turns twisty. But don't get me wrong, this car is a worthy driver. It just doesn't inspire Michael Schumacher levels of canyon carving. So that makes it a luxury sedan, right? But what about the 6-speed sequential gearbox and these fat and very sporty tires? And don't forget the double wishbone and multi-link rear suspension. These are the core ingredients of a sports sedan, and yet you can't help but love the Mark Levinson audio system that fills the eerily quiet cabin with the sound of your favorite satellite radio station. Gotta love the 80s. And I have to tell you, after a painful and much delayed flight back home from Detroit, I couldn't wait to get back to the GS for the last leg of my journey. With full-time all-wheel drive, I knew the car was ready to tackle the worst that Colorado could throw at it, and better yet, get me home in first-class comfort. So luxury sedan or sports sedan? Perhaps the Lexus GS 350 is the quintessential and uncompromising luxury sports sedan with all the best and all the worst characteristics of a sports car and a luxury car. But more importantly, it's that uncompromising attention to detail that makes the Lexus GS 350 a worthy contender on anybody's luxury sports sedan shopping list.